All right, everyone. So let's talk about what just took place in Central Asia. There was a brutal, vicious, bloody battle that broke out between Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan. Tajikistan decided to attack Kyrgyzstan on September the 14th. Two Kyrgyzstani service members were injured. The two countries had a discussion. The leader of Tajikistan, Mr. Emomali Rahmon, spoke with the leader of Kyrgyzstan, Mr. Sadr Yaparov, and the two leaders agreed that there would be peace. That didn't happen because a number of days after that, Tajikistan decided to attack Kyrgyzstan again, and dozens upon dozens of people were butchered on both sides. Tajikistan, in fact, attacked indiscriminately, targeting even civilian populations in Kyrgyzstan. And so some people think, well, the leader of Kyrgyzstan, Emomali Rahmon, is getting old. He's in his 60s. He's on his way to retirement, and he's going to give the throne to his son. And so when you have this sort of transition of power, neighboring countries might see it as a weakness. They might see it as a moment of vulnerability for their enemy, and they may attack. And so the leader of Tajikistan wants to send a message out to Kyrgyzstan that Tajikistan is strong, and if you mess with Tajikistan, we will not hesitate to even target your civilians. We won't just target soldiers. We'll kill civilians. We'll kill dozens of civilians just to prove a point and just to convey a message of strength and fearlessness. This is one theory that I read because, they say that this is a part of a border dispute. And there has been a border dispute between these countries for a long time. But the question comes, why attack civilians? Why attack an area in Kyrgyzstan that has nothing to do with the border dispute? This could be the beginning of a war. This could be the beginning of an actual invasion. We'll see what happens. But there are certain things, certain observations that I have about this. For one, you've had chaos and instability in Central Asia for a very long time now. Let's not forget another country in Central Asia that has been dealing with conflict for a very long time, for decades, Afghanistan. Now, when the Americans decided to leave Afghanistan, they told Turkey that they wanted Turkey to be basically NATO's force of stability for the Americans in Afghanistan. And so the Americans, NATO, is looking to Turkey as a country that could bring stability, that could lead in Central Asia. And so NATO is giving this tremendous amount of power and this huge opportunity to Turkey to really become a regional superpower and really a superpower leading the Turkic world, because the Americans don't want Russia in Central Asia. The Americans don't want Russia to be leading Central Asia. Russia wants to lead Central Asia. Russia wants to be the main superpower, really the only superpower in Central Asia. The same goes for China. China also wants to be this regional superpower. It wants to be a leader or the leader in Central Asia. This is why China has been investing so much in infrastructure in Central Asia. But let's not forget, Turkey is the leading nation of the Turkic world. In fact, Turkey has its own Turkic NATO. It's called the Organization of Turkic States, formerly known as the Turkic Council, or the Cooperation Council of Turkic-speaking states. This is Turkey's attempt at forming its own NATO, and it's a very powerful confederacy, and this is what the Americans are betting on in order to lead the Turkic world, as opposed to allowing Russia to take the mantle and fill in the power vacuum within that part of the world. The members of this Turkic Union are Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, and of course Turkey, which is the leader of the whole confederacy. And then you have the observing countries. These are Turkmenistan and Hungary. And you can ask, well, why is Hungary in the Turkic NATO? You know, Hungary is not Turkish. Hungary is not Turkic. Hungary is a European country. Well, look at the name Hungary, okay? The word Hun is literally rooted in the name Hungary. They consider themselves Huns, and the leader of Hungary, Viktor Orban, is a pan-Eurasianist. He believes that the Hungarians and the Turks are related, which they are. The Huns, the Turks, the Mongolians, all these people are related. In fact, when we think of Turkey, what we're actually talking about is Anatolia. In fact, before the end of World War I, Turkey was not called Turkey. It was called Anatolia, even by the Turks. And after World War I, they decided to call themselves Turkey. Now, really, Anatolia was Islamized by people who came from Central Asia, people who came from Turkmenistan. These were the Seljuk Turks, who were a part of a greater nation of Turks called the Oghuz Turks. Many of these Turks converted to Islam, and one of the roots, or one of the subgroups of the Oghuz Turks, the Seljuk Turks, or the Seljukian Turks, these were Turks who had converted to Islam. Many Turks actually before this were Buddhist, or they were pagans, they were Nestorians, but a good number of them had converted to Islam, and they brought Islam into Anatolia, forcing the Christian population to convert to Islam, and that is why people in Anatolia today do not identify as Greek, they do not identify as Indo-European, they identify as Turks. Their language is Turkish. And so Turkey is the most powerful of all of the Turkic countries, or the Turkish-speaking world. Turkey is the most powerful of all of the Islamic countries in the world. Doesn't matter if it's Shia or Sunni, Turkey is the most powerful. It is the top powerhouse in the Islamic world, which is why NATO is so fixated on keeping Turkey within the American security realm. And the reason is because the last thing that America wants is for Turkey to go on the side of Russia. John Bolton made this very clear a few years ago. I think this was back in 2017. He said that what Russia wants is to make Turkey its ally, because if Turkey becomes an ally of Russia and turns away from NATO, and I don't see this happening anytime soon at least, and if it did happen, it would be very, very temporary, but if Russia could get Turkey to sever itself from NATO and become a part of Russia's alliance, then that would mean that Russia would have complete control over the Black Sea. It wouldn't have to worry about Turkey impeding whatever it wants to do on the Black Sea, and it would have a huge ally against Ukraine. Now, this links to what has been occurring in the South Caucasus, specifically in the war between Armenia and Azerbaijan. It's very interesting because Russia has also wanted to form its own NATO. This is the CSTO, the Collective Security Treaty Organization. This is basically Russia's attempt at creating its own NATO. So the Collective Security Treaty Organization consists of course, Russia, but it also consists of Armenia, and it also consists of believe it or not, Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan, and also Tajikistan. So what makes this interesting is that what this means is that the majority of the CSTO is in war. Russia is in a war with Ukraine. Belarus, being a very, very close ally, very deep ally with Russia, is also involved in the war in Ukraine. And then, of course, you have Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan, both members of the CSTO, and they are both engulfed in a conflict against each other. And then you have Armenia. Armenia is an ally of the CSTO, and Armenia is in a war with Azerbaijan. So the the whole thing is engulfed in war, or most of it is engulfed in a war. The leader of the CSTO, the founder of the CSTO, is engulfed in a war, stuck and boggled down in Ukraine. So Armenia got attacked by Azerbaijan. Over 100, close to 200 Armenians were slaughtered, mainly Armenian soldiers, but also Armenian civilians. And Armenia has been asking Russia for help because Armenia is a member of the CSTO. And just like NATO, the CSTO promises security to its members, just like NATO. Russia, after the war ended back in 2020, there was a war between Azerbaijan and Armenia. Azerbaijan won and took Nagorno-Karabakh back from Armenia. After the war, Russia deployed around 2,000 soldiers into Nagorno-Karabakh, and those soldiers are still there. But this did not prevent Azerbaijan from slaughtering over 100 Armenians. In Armenia. Literally, they attacked Armenia. They didn't attack Nagorno-Karabakh. They attacked Armenia, and they butchered over 100 Armenians, mainly soldiers. Even Nancy Pelosi, and this, I'm going to get to this, but Nancy Pelosi went to Armenia, and she condemned Azerbaijan for its aggression, because you know how it always works in these sorts of conflicts, right? One side butchers the other side, and then says, "Oh, it was a response because they were being aggressive towards us." But that wasn't the case here. Azerbaijan was the aggressor. So Russia's security umbrella didn't stop this from happening, and the fact that the majority of the CSTO is sunk in war right now means that the Armenians have lost so much trust for Russia. In fact, a lot of Armenians are very, very pissed off at Russia right now. So what do the Americans do? They send Nancy Pelosi to Armenia to condemn Azerbaijan. What does this do? It brings the Armenians closer to NATO and away from Russia. Because remember, Russia wants to be a superpower, wants to be an empire. Well, you can't be an empire unless you have the trust of the people that you want to control. Or, if you don't have that, then you have to control with sheer violence, and that doesn't work in the long term. But if Russia wants to have a realm of security or a sphere of power, it's going to have to gain the trust and the cooperation of those that it wants to rule over. And the Armenians have lost trust for the Russians, and this has been capitalized upon by the Americans. Now, the reason why Russia did not get tremendously involved in this conflict is because the Russians don't want to lose the Turks. And so Russia, and everybody knows it. Everybody who has studied anything about this conflict knows that Azerbaijan is like the rabid dog of Turkey. It's on a leash that's held by Turkey, and all Turkey's got to do is drop the leash, and this thing goes at it. It attacks Turkey's enemies. In this case, it's the Armenians. And if Azerbaijan attacks, that's because Turkey allowed it. And Turkey permitted it, and Turkey encouraged it. Some people would even go so far as to say that Turkey ordered it. Russia does not want to get involved because Russia doesn't want, at least Russia doesn't want to get involved right now because Russia does not want to lose Turkey. And the reason for this is because Turkey is a Black Sea country. It neighbors with Ukraine. And Turkey has been selling Bayraktar drones, which have been quite effective in the battlefield, especially in the South Caucasus. And the last thing Russia wants is Turkey making a strong alliance with Ukraine, because Russia is stuck in this war, and it doesn't want another major NATO power developing very strong ties with Ukraine. Turkey has been supporting Ukraine, but at the same time, it's been towing the line because Turkey doesn't want to lose its relationship with, or its alliance with Russia, because Turkey has been very dependent on Russian energy. Now, speaking of energy, this brings us back to Central Asia. Turkey wants to rule Central Asia. This is a part of the reason why Turkey supported Azerbaijan against Armenia, because Armenia sits right in between Azerbaijan. It's kind of like what Canada is to the United States. Canada is wedged in between America. It's got Alaska on one side and mainland America on the other. It's wedged in between the United States. Armenia is wedged in between Azerbaijan. On one side, which is the side that borders with Turkey, you have Nakhchivan. On the other side, you have mainland Azerbaijan. What Turkey and Azerbaijan want is a corridor that links Nakhchivan with Azerbaijan. This would mean a giant road from Nakhchivan going across Armenia into mainland Azerbaijan. This would give Turkey a direct route from Nakhchivan through Armenia, through mainland Azerbaijan, into the Caspian Sea from the coastal city of Baku, which is the capital city of Azerbaijan. From the Caspian Sea, you have direct access into Central Asia. What Turkey wants to do is form a trans-Caspian energy route. Basically, what Turkey wants to do is get natural gas and oil from Central Asia, because there's a huge amount of natural gas in Central Asia, especially in Kazakhstan. And Turkey wants to get that energy. If Turkey can get that gas, that natural gas from Central Asia, it no longer has to depend on Russia. And that natural gas could be exported not just to Turkey, but to the rest of the European Union, making Turkey a dominating a route for energy export into the rest of Europe, which would give Turkey a tremendous amount of clout and a tremendous amount of geopolitical leverage and all of that academic lingo, geostrategic, geopolitical power. Turkey would get all that with this trans-Caspian energy route. So that's what's happening. Now, with the chaos happening in Central Asia, Turkey now has more of a reason to act as the leader of the Turkic nations. We need to stand together. We need to stop fighting each other. And so that is what is occurring. What is occurring is Turkey working to form its Turkic NATO and becoming a huge power, not just in the Near East, but in the Caucasus and also in Europe as a whole. Anyway, you guys just heard some theology. God bless.